Sharing screen now. Oh, look, that was loads easier. Expanding screen now. So all week I've wanted to talk about something, and Kat and I raised it last week in the Monday meeting that we always do, and then I got to the end of the meeting. Now I was like, "What was it I said I was going to talk about in next week's Zoom?" And she was like, "Oh, I've forgotten." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." And I thought, you know what? I've got a week; it'll come to me. And then all week, I finally remembered it on a certain day. I swear to God, I put it in my phone, wrote it down, couldn't find it fucking anywhere today. I was like, oh my God. And then I just remembered it about 20 minutes ago. So I am going to add on to a little bit of this as we go. But I want to talk about bowel movements because, as a lot of you know, I've also just dropped into a deficit because I just want to lose a little bit of chunk just as we come into summer. And these are some of the things that I'm now also remembering, and they are also coming up in check-ins as well. So I feel like it's a good time. Let me just see. I don't know if Hector needs a wee. I don't think he does. He's just stood there for good measure. But yeah, so these are some of the things that I kind of want to talk about. Now, this is already out of date because I wrote this earlier. So we also have three new women who have joined us since I wrote this morning. But obviously, welcome to Emma, Sarah, and the three new lovely ladies, Lauren, Sarah, and Vicky, who have joined us this evening as well. So welcome aboard. But before we obviously go into the slides, as we do every week, now, I'm not going to lie to you, Friday's check ins were fucking chef's kiss, magical, beautiful. Like, probably couldn't have asked for better check ins from all of you ladies if we could have done, really. And I really sat there with such a feeling of massive pride, thinking, you all do different things for a living, but I've got the best job in the world because honestly, sitting there going through them, and I saw Kat as we were in the gym this morning, and I thought, like, and Kat said the exact same thing. Like, it was fucking incredible. So that was an amazing week. And this was really hard to actually pick people out because I just thought, God, you all deserve a fucking medal at this point, all of you. But Michelle, you're fucking crushing it. 4 kilos down. One thing I want to make really clear is Michelle is so on it with her questions, and she's so on it with making sure that she is on it, like probably to a point where she is overthinking, but we would rather you do that and genuinely ask the right questions and genuinely learn and absorb and sponge up as much of this information from a coach as you possibly can. Exactly the kind of client that we want in the program. Fucking crushing it. Sending in a meal prep photos, form checks galore. Like, she wants to make sure she's doing it right, and she's dropped 4 kilos in 3 weeks. Like, fucking hell, like, do you know what I mean? That's fire. Ellen, so fucking close to 10 kilos lost. Like, it is this fucking close. So I wanted to shout you out as motivation to make it fucking happen. Edwina has officially lost her first 10 kilos as well, which is amazing. Heather, over 5 kilos lost, which again, amazing. And then I also wanted to shout out Dandy because she had a week where, and this happens when you're newer into the program and your natural cycle, for those of you who do have a natural menstrual cycle, and the scales go up, but she kind of didn't realize she was coming on. And she was like, I fucking grafted my tits off for an entire week and the weighing scales have gone up. And she was like, I don't understand it. 24 hours later, she was messaging me like, I've just come on my period. Fuck's sake. And this is it. It's that kind of learning knowledge and education that we want to make sure that you understand your bodies and how it reacts. Then obviously next check-in comes in, fucking crushed it. But she could have thrown in the towel. She could have turned around and gone, this isn't fucking working. It's not worth the effort. Why am I bothering? But continued to show up for herself. And shared her frustration with me of thinking, well, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Nothing. Nada. Do you know what I mean? But it was just that blip of where she was at. And water retention happens around your cycle. Not a lot we can do about it. So just wanted to address that because I thought it was a good point as well. But I want to talk about bowel movements, right? So I'm in my deficit, as I said, and I'll be honest with you, I shit a lot. I eat a lot, but I also shit a lot naturally. So I can live my life on over 3,000 calories a day, which is quite a lot for a woman of my frame. obviously I've put in the work over the years to build a high muscle mass on my frame, so I get the privilege of being able to do that. My first deficit was 1,300 calories, right? So, but now I can deficit on over 2,000 calories. So my food intake is still pretty high, but even I'm noticing I am not going to the toilet as often. But more frustratingly, what I'm noticing, I normally go for my first poop as soon as my eyes open. As soon as I'm going into the bathroom, I will shit my life away from the night before. Do you know what I mean? It's coming out, it's happening. But I've noticed that I can't poop first thing in the morning now, and I'm not pooping until I have obviously my pre-gym snack, then I'm doing the gym, I'm coming home, I'll eat my breakfast, and then finally about half an hour after that, that's when I'm finally pooping. So we're talking like 9 a.m. I want to weigh myself at 6:30 in the morning, but it's not great. Do you know what I mean? Because I can tell that I am a little bit bunged up, but it is one of the first things that you will notice that when you drop into a calorie deficit, you will notice your digestion slow down. And it's really common for this to happen and totally normal, but it can feel a bit uncomfortable, or you might even think, oh God, like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm bunged up, I don't feel great. What's going on? So I just kind of want to talk through that shitty feeling. So, why does it actually happen? And there are a few things that are impacting your digestion at this point. Less food in, less waste out. That is an organic process. There is not a huge amount we can do about that. You're not pushing as much through your body as what you were before. So naturally, you might expect. So I'm probably now only going to the loo. I'd normally go 4 or 5 times a day, genuinely. That is my pattern. And I also eat 4 or 5 times throughout the day. Some of those are proper meals. Some of them are going to be more snacky foods. But I literally eat and I poop. I eat and I poop to a point where it's really hard for me to do things outdoors. So, like Victoria and I went on a hike on Friday. My first thought was, what am I going to do if I need a poo? I'm thinking I'm going to have to shit in a hole on the side of a mountain. Like, what am I going to do? But because I'm in a deficit, it's just not coming out as often. But because you have less volume, there is less bulk movement as well. So through your digestion system. So it is going to lead to fewer bowel movements. That's just part and parcel of it. Lower fiber intake. So because you're potentially having less food, you might accidentally end up consuming less fiber. Now, this is one of the things we actually don't want to be doing, but we'll go into that in a moment. What you can also accidentally do is reduce your intake of whole foods, fruit, veggies to try and save on calories, which again is reducing that fiber intake, but it is essential that we don't do that. Change in gut transit time. So that's exactly what I was just talking about, where I normally go first thing and now I'm going later. And it's really irritating because I want to take my naked morning weight, but I'm hoping this will balance itself out and it'll come back to a slightly earlier regular routine. But at the minute, it's just not there. So when I'm weighing in, I can tell I feel like a bloated beast and I just need to take a good poo.
Dawn, are you on the bus tomorrow morning?
Rach is doing it again. Every week, mate. Every fucking week. Is she on the bus? Is she going? Is she on the bus tomorrow? So this is Rach, by the way. She's very good at doing this, or undies as I nickname her. Every week it'll be about a rice dinner. It'll be a daughter catching a bus, I assume. So there's something. But anyway, we'll get back to it. So the body can slow it down in a deficit because what it's also doing is clawing to try and absorb more nutrients from your food. So again, it's not releasing as much out because it's trying to hold on, because essentially it's not quite grappled with the idea that you're in a deficit yet. Dehydration, less water intake. So, another consideration, not so much for this bank holiday, but the last couple of weeks, it actually got really warm. And if you didn't increase your water intake to allow for the fact it got a lot warmer, then again, you might start to see that your stools, they're just not passing through like you would want them to. Um, so again, that less water consumed even through the choice of foods, foods have water in them. When we are consuming fewer of them, we're going to get less organic water through our food as well. So that's another way that you potentially are decreasing the amount of water that's coming into your body. So that can also play its part. So, how do we get things moving again? So, we want to increase that fiber, but gradually. What you don't want to do is suddenly go boof and just beef everything up with fiber. But we do want to make sure that we are getting a source of fiber, ideally a little bit throughout the day as we're going. So, aiming for 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day is going to be really beneficial. So, things like, obviously, it goes without saying, your fruits, your veggies, but like berries, apples, oats, lentils, chia seeds, leafy greens. Those are the kind of things you want to be trying to get into your diet just to give your body a little bit of help. Drinking more water. Now, we obviously do have a 2 litre water rule inside of this program every single day. That's what we should be aiming for. But there may well be days where you don't quite get that into you. So let's take the women who do a lot of traveling with work where you're in the car for long periods of time. You might find that you do become a little bit more constipated because you're probably bringing down your water because you can't just constantly stop on the motorway if you've got a long distance journey ahead of you. We've all been there where we've been traveling for the day, getting down to Devon or going up to Scotland, wherever it might be, and you try and limit your water intake. Even I think sitting down all day long, our bodies were not designed to sit in that kind of L shape. Like I even had it, I think it was Sunday night where we were laid out on the sofa and Spencer, one of our dogs, he was laid into my stomach and about an hour and he just did not move and he was asleep. And obviously they win at life. I come second, so I had to just sit there uncomfortably. But when he moved, the pains in my stomach from the wind, he'd like almost squished parts of my body in. And I was like, oh my God, I've got really bad trap wind. And I could feel it had got stuck because of the position that I was laid in. Now, a little bit of a rule of thumb, actually, your gas can pass through you more easily if you lay on your left hand side. So when you go to sleep, it's a good idea to think to lay on your left hand side because everything just pushes through that little bit easier than if you're on your back or your right hand side. Obviously, you're standing, it's a little bit easier as well. So try and go to sleep on your left if you can. Gut-friendly habit. So something as simple as a spoonful of chia or flax seeds in yogurts or oats. Now, one thing I will say is there are fucking calories in those little bastards. Measure and track. Do not underestimate the power of those tiny little seeds and how many calories are actually in them. Also really good for protein, chia seeds, by the way. But that's another little thing that you can do for a bit of gut health. A warm cup of water with lemon in the morning. So, as your first drink of the day, that's something that you could do to just try and flush your body through. Probiotic rich foods, kefir, Greek yogurt, sauerkraut. I don't think we eat that much sauerkraut in this country, if I'm honest. I was thinking when I put this, and I thought it's quite normal for us because we've got like Norwegian family. So we do eat sauerkraut, and I think Germans eat quite a lot of it as well, but it's just a consideration for you guys. So these kind of things to just get like the really good foods into your body that are going to help you digest. Protein can also cause a bit of gassiness. So if you're used to, let's say, before you stepped into the program, you were eating really low protein and then you really ramp it up like we want to be doing, that can cause that change in the kind of diet that you're used to having. So just another consideration for you there. Not a bad thing, should settle down again, but it's worth knowing. Don't skip movement. So this again is where I'm talking about being sat down all day long. Our bodies don't love it. So if you've got a desk job, you need to try and make sure that you are moving around throughout the day, including myself. I sit down the majority of the day. So daily walks, your light cardio, just getting that step goal in, gonna help with that digestion. 5-10 minutes of gentle movements after meals. So I literally smashed my dinner down right before doing this Zoom. Would not recommend. Just didn't have a choice because it's been a manic day. But again, trying to eat at relevant times and regular times as well, trying to stick to this to me is just good food habit kind of stuff. That sounded really technical, didn't it? My brain's tired now. But it is good food hygiene to try and go, right, okay, breakfast within reason at these hours, lunch within reason at these hours, dinner within reason at these hours, plus maybe a couple of snacks throughout the day. But trying to, like I've eaten really late tonight, that probably is going to impact my ability to digest before I go to sleep, and then probably impact my bowel movements first thing tomorrow morning. It'll probably be even fucking later, which is great. Making time for toilet visits and avoid rushing. Now, there is somebody in the program at the minute that's recently gone back to working in the office, and this is something that's really bothering her. The idea of pooping in the office. Now, I've always shit so often that I could not have that issue because otherwise I would have exploded and just been a bomb poo if I genuinely waited until I got home to shit. Never going to happen in my world. Now, we all poo, okay? There is nobody on this planet, even if you've got a colostomy bag, you still have to empty it and replace it and change it. The poo's still coming out of you. Please don't feel any kind of shame or embarrassment if you poo in an office, in a public place. And I know people get really funny about it, but the last thing you want to do is hold on to it and keep holding. And fair enough, if you're close to home and you know you can wait, but you don't want to get into the habit of doing that. It is so bad for your gut that, do you know what I mean? Like it's the same as holding a wee when, let's say you are in the car and you've got, like, do you know what I mean, a big journey and you're trying to hold your wee. It's really bad for you, and just do not do it. We all shit. We're all from the same, do you know what I mean? It happens. We just kind of have to accept it and move on, and it is a part of our lives. So there's no need to be embarrassed by it. Scheduled refeed days for anyone in the program that's been in a while. You will know typically we do scheduled refeed days. Now, some of you might never have been told about this because you typically schedule your own without necessarily meaning to, but you might go to a concert or celebrate a birthday or an anniversary or a date night, whatever it might be. We can see that. So we don't need to tell you to do it because you're probably already doing it. But if you religiously are one of the women who sticks to their macros for 14 days straight and does never stray, we're going to start to talk to you about refeed days. And this is where we're deliberately spiking up our macros to come back up to maintenance, get out of the deficit, force our bodies to operate at a higher quality again, and then coming straight back down into it the next day. That is going to force your body to kind of go, right, okay, so I might well be due a refeed day. I imagine probably this weekend because I've been in this. I probably should have made a note of the date. I can't actually remember, but I think it's been about 2 weeks now. So again, that will help my gut health. It will help push kind of my metabolism back up, stops it thinking it's in a deficit, bring it back down again straight away, and then everything should flush itself out as well. So if any of you are saying you've got difficult bowels, I may even tell you to force that refeed day back up even a bit sooner because that could help you out as well here. So, but we've got to tick the other boxes first and make sure we're doing it. Like I said, it can impact the weighing scale. So one of the women sent me a message the other day, and it was like she basically took a 1 kilo shit. Now, it's not all poo. Do you know what I mean? There is also water retention. There was also a time difference between taking the initial weight and then having the poo and then taking the weight again. But it can impact if you're not able to get a poo out first thing in the morning and then you weigh in, you can expect that to show up on the weighing scale. So when you're saying, oh God, it's spiked a bit, or it's not exactly the same as it was yesterday, this is the human body we're talking about. We want to see the overall pattern of moving in the right direction, or if you're reverse dying, fucking hell, I didn't mean that, dieting, then we kind of want to see that stabilization. But again, it's going to do that. It's going to be like one of those heart rate monitors. It's not just going to, we're not flatlining here completely. We're going to do a little bit of bobbling around because we are human beings. Now, this is the bit I forgot to put in, hunger cues. Now, I live and die by my hunger cues when I am in a calorie deficit. And I think it is really important and really good practice because this is the stuff that means you don't have to track for the rest of your fucking life. If you can start to get really tuned in to your body's hunger cues. So I'm going to talk you through mine as a good example. So I will eat my pre-gym snack, go to the gym, come home, pretty fucking hungry by the time I'm coming home because obviously I've had a big workout. Immediately getting back, I will have my protein oats, smash that back straight away. Then about 11:30, that is my first sign of hunger. That's where I'm thinking, yeah, I'm aware that my stomach exists right now. I'm not dying of starvation, but I am aware that my hunger cues are starting to spike. But I'm going to push the fuck out of them because it's almost lunchtime. It's 11:30. I want to push it to maybe 12:30, possibly 1 o'clock if I can. But I'm happy to try and stretch that little bit of kind of distraction, knowing that it's there. I'm not talking about a rumbling stomach, but I'm just aware that it is there. Then I'm going to have my lunch at the point where I think, yeah, you know what? It's a decent lunchtime now, 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm going to get my lunch. That's when I'll have my lunch. Now, by 4 p.m., maybe a little bit earlier, depending on if I went for 12:30 or 1 p.m. for lunch, I am hungry again. And that's probably my highest hunger spike throughout the day. That's the one where I'm going, I'm aware of this, and there's no possible way that I can stretch this out until my dinner. I need to have a snack. So I've built in my 4 p.m. snack, and I deliberately choose a protein yogurt. That's my personal preference, mostly because they seem really thick. So I feel like it actually just satisfies me. Obviously, there's like 20, 25 grams of protein in there as well. So I'm kicking up my protein. But you could have a tin of tuna, you could have edamame beans, you could have whatever the snack is. You could have a protein bar if you wanted to. As long as it fits within your macros, it's all good. But that's the point where I think my hunger spike's the highest in the day. Then I have my evening dinner, usually not as late as I did tonight. I would usually have it around 6:30 and that sees me through. Now, I'll be honest, by 9:30, I'm starting to feel that hunger again. It's there. It's just little like simmering away in the background. I'm not starving. I'm not ravenous. I can sleep through it, but I am aware that I am in a calorie deficit. And that is what I'm talking about. I think if you've got no hunger whatsoever, you're and well, I would say if you've got no hunger whatsoever and the weighing scales are not moving, welcome to you. You are not in a calorie deficit. You should be looking for slight hunger cues throughout the day, which should make sense around your eating times. And you then should be able to satisfy them within your macros and within your split timings of your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus whatever snacks if you need them. That's what I'm kind of talking about. And then potentially, again, just feeling it mildly before you go to bed. Once your food is kind of digested and you're going, yeah, I know I'm in a bit of a calorie deficit. So if you can learn those hunger cues, and I'm not talking, you should never feel ravenous. If you feel absolutely ravenous, please reach out to us because we might need to reset your macros. It's not a perfect science when I'm doing them. I'm doing them to the best of my ability on the information that has been given to me. But we're human beings, we're not robots. So I might need to retweak your calculations. You might come in highly sedentary. There was one of the women who did this. She came in really fucking sedentary. Normally, we expect a slow progression to actually kicking up through the program. She fucking went hell for leather in week 1. And I was like, holy shit, you're going to kill yourself. So we needed to change her macros immediately. And I was like, can you sustain this? And she was like, yes. I was like, right, we need to change your macros then. If you're sustaining this activity level straight away, I can't kill you off. Do you know what I mean? So we had to make that change, and that does happen. So sometimes the activity levels are just not quite as accurate as we initially thought. So we're going to work on that. Right. Questions. I have had some in, so let me just see what you guys have been putting. Where are we? Hang on. Don't forget to press record yet. Just checking you don't have to be an RT member. Hang on. No, that was last week. I've gone too far. Cycles and poo first meeting. Yep. It's a different topic every week. Every single week, it's something completely different, but it's always educational, something for everybody to learn at every point. This answers my question to you guys earlier. Thank you. No need to worry now. I'm lucky if I go once a week in a deficit. See, we got to get that fucking moving. And some of you guys, it's more about assessing. Sorry, Hector wants to go to the toilet. Now, some of you guys will not go 5 times a day like I do. So, what we want to do is grasp the picture between what you normally would, how often you would normally go, to how often you're now going, because that's something that we really want to look into. Your fiber might be off. You might not be drinking enough water. I'm pretty sure I'm talking to the right Jess when I say this. There's an H on the end, so I can't see your full name, but I'm pretty sure you drive around a lot. And again, that could be the hydration thing where you're thinking, oh, I don't want to drink loads because then I've got to go to the loo and I'm going to be late for a meeting or this, that, and the other. So that might be something for us to look into. Protein yogurt is my 3:30 snack too. Those things, and they are filling. They really are filling. And it's actually because they're made with a cream cheese. It's not actually, and I mean, cheese is yogurt and milk. They're all the same thing, really, aren't they? At a different point in the process. But because it is that cream cheese, they are actually quite a thick yogurt, and that's what gets the protein ramped through the roof. Always hungry at bedtime. Yeah, same, mate, same. It's fucking tragic, isn't it? But again, if you are hungry to the point where you can't fall asleep and it's really impacting you, we've got to bring your calories back up. We need to do something about that just to give you that slight little bit of an edge. Hector's decided to throw himself around a beanbag. So if it's got really loud in here, that's why. I've been doing 10,000 steps pretty much since week 2 and obviously doing my workouts, but still at 13, 16 from a deficit. Who's writing this? Let me just scroll back up. Woo! Still you, Jess. And I do struggle with that. Yeah, it sounds like we probably do need to increase your calories. It sounds like if the hunger levels are too high and the activity levels are bang on and you're meeting everything, but this is also going to come down to how fast you want to drop the body fat. Now, I know there was a point where you were like, thanks, Hector. My friend is dropping quicker than me. So the last thing I would ever then want to do is go, oh, we'll increase your calories. And then you go, no, I don't want that. No, you're being rude. Um, so, so then we have to discuss the alignment with the goals, making sure you're happy with the speed of things, the macros. So that's a conversation. Honest to God. Thomas, can you come and get Hector, please? He wants an input on the poo. Can hunger cues include losing concentration at work in the afternoon? Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely. If your hunger cues are spiking too high, this is where you might need to build. This is where you might need to build in that afternoon snack. I can't stop laughing at the view of that. So you might want to think about the placement of your macros in the day. Now, it might not be that. It might be an energy dip where I think most of us have an energy dip. It's quite organic in the working day, and you might find that having a bit of caffeine, which is absolutely fine to do, if it works for you, you might choose to do that. You might decide, actually, I'm dehydrated, or actually I just need to go and move my body a little bit, or maybe I do need a snack. So it's about getting really tuned in to what your body is actually looking for at that point in time, and trying to try a few different things and see what actually seems to help, and then that's something that you can work with. Yeah, true. I want to drop it ASAP. There you go. We have to find a bit of balance here. Now, I don't really want you to starve. Do you know what I mean? So it might well be that we can just look at tweaking some of the nutrition that you are having to see if we can get you feeling a little bit fuller. Sometimes people aren't hitting their protein enough, this, that, and the other. But we'll have a good chat about that tomorrow because so please do message in your group chat with Kat and I because that is something I'd like to address and just make sure we're happy with everything. Tickety boo. I got asked as well, did I draw that? What is that big weird thing on the screen? No idea. Like a weird, I don't know, like a cactus. But anyway, I got asked, and I think somebody put this in the group chat in the week, and then somebody's asked it to me privately as well. So understanding the concept of a superset. Now, newer women in the program, you're likely to get more supersets than when you become slightly more advanced. The reason behind this is because when you become more advanced, probably as well, more so if you're on the gym program, you're going to be starting to lift really fucking heavy. And it's so hard to do a superset when you're absolutely blowing out of your ass on the first workout. So that we start to tweak how the programs get written as you advance, depending on whether you're home and gym. But the concept of a superset, one, is going to speed up your workout. We want to get through as much as we can within an hour, give or take a little bit. So it's a very clever way of actually targeting muscle groups, either the same muscle group to pre-exhaust it, alternative muscle groups to try and maximize the time that we're actually doing things in. A million different one ways you can use a superset, basically. But the concept of a superset is that you do all of your first reps. So I'm going to take the example of a gym program, let's say a leg press and lunges. If you're on a home program, let's say it's squats and lunges. Okay, so you've got two examples there. You would do the entire first amount of reps on the first exercise. So let's say it's 10 reps on the leg press. You would do all 10 reps on the leg press straight away with what I would say is minimal rest. And what I mean by that is 10 to 15 seconds. You've got to get from the leg press over to your lunges. You've got to pick up your lunge dumbbells and then you start lunging. You do one set on one side, you do the other set on the other side, as in 10 reps on your left leg, 10 reps on your right leg. Always start with your weakest side if it's a single leg exercise or single arm exercise. So you would do 10 leg press, 10 lunges on your left, 10 lunges on your right, minimal rest in between them. Now, once you've completed your first set of each of those exercises, this is when you now take your proper rest. This is where you tick the timer in the app and it will count you down. Once it's counted you down, you go back to your second set on the leg press and then your second set on the lunges with minimal rest between exercises. Tick your timer at the end of it, it will count you down in the app and then you go again. So that's the principle, because I know it gets a bit confusing between what rest means, what sets mean, like when you're new to lifting and you're trying to navigate all of this process. And now, if this only really applies to the gym program people, but if you cannot get on, let's say, so the gym I used to go to was across two floors. Now, I wouldn't be able to do squats on the squat rack and then go and do the leg extension because it's an entire floor between. And all I'm going to do is lose the squat rack that I've got access to in that time. If you cannot superset it, split the exercises up, do straight sets of each exercise. So, squat rack as an example, do all of your sets on that first, but just increase your rest period. So you will need the proper rest time. So 90 seconds or 2 minutes, whatever it is programmed, that is what you actually want to take. So you're basically just splitting the supersets, doing straight sets of one with the proper rest in between, not 10 to 15 seconds, 90 seconds to 2 minutes, whatever it is. Then you go and do your second exercises, again, increasing the rest time. So making sure that you don't just go 15 seconds between each one because you will kill yourself if you do straight sets. So you did get it wrong. This is it. But it's not that you got it wrong as such. Like it's just learning, isn't it? Like you don't know what you don't know. So that's the point of the program, is to teach you and for you to learn. It's not like, oh, I did it wrong. You lifted, you got your workout in, you did it on a bank holiday, which most of the country are sat on their fucking arses. So the way I see it is you won. You won, and that's what's great. So does anybody have any other questions before we park for the night? New women, obviously, you'll be hearing from me a lot tomorrow, so don't panic, guys. You don't need to ask any questions here and be like, oh, all good, all good. Right. Well, I will love you and leave you all. I hope you had a wonderful bank holiday, but we do want to absolutely smash the rest of the fucking week. But it was great to see so many of you share. You'll never miss a Monday, despite it being a bank holiday, and still absolutely going after it. So fucking proud of you all right now. Like, this is like Oh, it's exciting. Also, slight side note, the event is in serious planning mode now, and I'm meeting with Kat tomorrow. Provided the gym say yes to the date, I'm going to share it and give it all out to you. And just as a heads up, I think we're going back to plan A with the date that got the most votes originally because I can't bring myself to not have you ladies there. So I think we're going for the 7th of June. Just need to confirm. Yeah, there you go, Undies. So I think we're going to go with that. Just need to confirm it with the gym, the photographer. Once we've got all of that confirmed, we'll get something out and we'll start getting the booking process out and letting you all know when we're actually officially launching it. So keep your eyes peeled for that in the announcements page, and I will let you know as soon as I do. All right. Peace out. Love you all. Bye.